Greetings world, we are Anonymous TruthSec, you're watching
From the Shadows
with your hosts Enki and Sitting Bull, brought to you by Anonymous TruthSec. Join us as we discuss some of the ways this world is broken. Join us as we invite the truth into our lives. Lives which until now have been blind. Join us as we bring you the truth from the shadows. We are not meaningless. We are not going away. We are anonymous. We are legion. We can forgive. We do not forget. You should have expected us.
3:43 in the morning.
Oh shit. Getting pretty late.
Yeah, I'm usually up late anyways.
Yeah.
It's cool to get acquainted with you, man. We added each other recently.
Yeah.
Mike says you guys go back and shit.
Yeah, we've known each other for a while now. Brought him on board with TruthSec like over a year ago. And he helped me out with it heaps because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
I just got done watching that that Lee's video from with the kids and CPS and shit.
Yeah.
Like all 4 hours of it.
Yeah, I didn't watch all 4 hours. I watched a little over an hour of it today, and it pisses me off.
Dude, it's crazy, bro.
I mean, it starts off with a phony ass report, and it just kind of goes downhill from there.
Well, dude, yeah, and there's like, I don't know, like in the town where I'm in right now, like people do that shit to each other when they're like beefing with each other and whatnot.
Oh, yeah. You see a lot of people doing it. And I think that's a message we need to get out. Is when you guys call CPS, you have no idea what risk you are putting those kids at. So make sure when you do it, it's really absolutely necessary. And even then, I don't like it. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I don't trust these people to do this job.
Oh, dude. Yeah, like I had issues with this girl at one point, and like I don't know, I went to her boyfriend before the fact, and I told him, I was like, dude, like I'm gonna tell this chick that I'm gonna fucking call CPS, but just so you know, like I'm not gonna call CPS just because I feel the same way about it. Like I think in some cases that's like far worse for them, but
yeah,
it was messy.
Yeah, it is. It's. I mean, it shouldn't be that way, but yeah, it is. I mean, they don't know. I'm trying to get my camera set up here, right? You're not doing a very good job of it here. You want to try something? Let's try both turning our phone over on the side. Try that. See if I can do it better, because mine has a stand on it and it won't stand up the other way. Yours is still sideways. So let's see. Why is it doing that? It's going to make me put mine the other way, I think. Yeah. All right, we're just going to have to do it like this, I reckon.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind, except that it just don't. Let me fix my mask too. It won't hold itself up. Is the thing. I got to sit here and hold it. But you didn't know I was this fucking old, did you?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, 19th of June, I'll be 60.
Oh, dude, I think that's my mom's birthday.
Oh, really? Yeah, my grandpa my grandpa, and I ain't prejudiced when I say this. I don't usually use this word, but my grandpa used to say it all the time. He was a preacher, and he used to say this to me. He'd tell me my birthday was on Nigger Day. Emancipation Day is what it was. So, yeah. And, so, yeah, that's a little bit better, I think. So, the only thing is we're supposed to do this with Roxanne, and I'm thinking maybe we ought to do a different subject tonight and try and get her on tomorrow night. Do a show tomorrow night on this, because I don't want to slight her. She's pretty good help with us with our ops and stuff, and I think we ought to kind of bring her along. When I asked her about it, you know, I've been talking to Emma for several days and haven't got an absolute commitment from her yet. You know, when I asked Roxanne, I said one sentence and she comes back with yes. So, you know, I mean, I think she really wants to do it. I think she sees it as a chance to spread her wings a little bit, and she's a pretty smart girl. So.
Yeah, she got added whenever. Well, I mean, you probably known her longer than she was added in the CPS chat. I'm guessing.
Actually, well, she's on my friends list already, but you know, I have 5,000 people on there. I don't know them all, you know, and so I didn't know her, and so it's kind of the first interactions I've had with her, and I'm pretty impressed. So.
Dude, yeah, I was you and I have been friends on there for a minute, I'm pretty sure. We never bumped into each other.
Well, yeah, and I have a lot of friends like that, you know. I mean, you can only interact with so many people. There's no way to interact with 5,000 people. It's just not. So, you know, but I mean, that's one thing I like about being on Anon is that, you know, the guy comes up and he's your brother anyways, you know, till he does something to say, make you think, you know, I don't want to work for this guy. This guy's a piece of dirt, you know, or whatever. And I mean, we got a few people like that. We got to face that. But, you know, anybody can call herself anonymous. And so, you know, that's our strength. And it's like that one intro that I use. That's our strength and that's our fault too. You know?
Yeah.
And it also, I mean, it allows people to infiltrate us, but at the same time, it gives us cover, gives us a place to, you know, makes it easy for us to hide amongst the ones that just claim the name anonymous and the actual collected people. And, you know, it's hard for some people to wrap their head around that, but anonymous really is, anyone can claim the name, but the anonymous that is anonymous is the collective. And the rest are kind of, I look at them as supporters, you know?
Yeah.
And you can call yourself anonymous and we're going to say, hey, brother, you're anonymous, but you want to be the collective, then you're going to have to earn some respect with some people in the collective. And when you have, there's never ever really a conscious decision to pull you in. It just kind of happens.
Dude, that's kind of the vibe I've gotten with it.
Right, and it's I think that's a kind of amazing phenomenon. I really do. I don't know there's ever been anything like Anonymous before.
I don't think there has.
And, you know, again, I'll refer to that intro. It says we hold to the most true definition of leaderless possible. We're leaderless. Yet, there are those of us that follow others. There's people I follow, and there's people that follow me, you know? And so, but that doesn't make me a leader, nor does it make the people I follow a leader. It's a matter of respect. And I think it's awesome. And, you know, we're pretty dynamic these days.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Like, do people like, how do people like in real life, like from before you got involved to after, like treat you a different way?
I would have to say that's a little negative, actually. Uh, but I think it's because they don't like some of the message. They don't want to hear it. They don't want the truth. You know, it's the truth's ugly. Let's face it, it is. And, you know, we make them look at it. And, you know, people didn't want to, online, people didn't care what I had to say. And then I put the mask on. And people care what I have to say now. And I think I look at things, you know, I look at things different. I look at things different myself. You know, the way I research and the way I look at things and the things I say online, it's changed along with it. And I think that's because you have the anonymity of the mask there. I don't wear the mask to hide my face, necessarily. Yeah, it helps to provide the anonymity, but it's not that I hide my face. I mean, I put my name out there, you know? So it's not that I'm trying to totally hide. The mask really joins us all together, makes us all the same, you know, all equal.
Dude, I feel you. Like, I don't really use it for real on my like actual profile, but I've like other platforms and like other outlets and shit that I use, and I like, you know, you can build networks like that and you meet different people, the different crews, all that.
Oh yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of people that know who I am. I'm sure if the government is on to me, then they know who I am, because you know, I don't go to that much effort to hide it. But that doesn't mean I'm not anonymous. I mean, still, a lot of what I do is done anonymously. I'll do videos and I won't claim credit for that video. I'll just make it and give it to someone, you know? Yeah. And they post it. No one knows who they are. And actually, those are some of my better videos because they're not going to be attributed to my name. They're truly anonymous, and that it kind of gives you a power that you don't have otherwise, you know.
Dude, when I started doing that shit, like, it was just like I talked to you about, like, I don't know, I just feel like there's a certain expectation, and so I'm a lot more like rigid with what I will let myself put out there like that, as opposed to just going on some rant on Facebook or something like that.
Well, you know, one of our ideals is nobody speaks for anonymous, and that's, I mean, I believe that. I believe I don't have the right to speak for anonymous, but at the same time, in a way, when we're doing an anonymous video, in a way, we are speaking for anonymous. So yeah, we have to be very thoughtful about how we do it, how we say things, and we have to portray that image of anonymous when we do it, so that they look at that video like an anonymous video because we've done it the right way, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, I'll say this: your videos are good. And
thanks, dude.
You obviously thought about it a long time before you ever did one, and I did too. And I was pretty proud of the very first one I did, you know. And not pat myself on the back. I'm just saying that you know, you put a lot of thought into it, a lot of effort, and there's a responsibility that goes along with that. And if you're going to make Anon videos, you should recognize that fact. And I see that you do, you know, I mean, and I definitely do too. And most people that I know that make videos, any videos that are any good, see it that way. That it's a burden, it's not a toy to play with or a game. It's a burden on you, and you need to really be serious about it. And if you are, you're having an impact. So.
Dude, it's like I told you, basically, like, I waited a long time for that level up. I'll put it that way. I waited a lot, and
Uh,
I watched a lot of videos, and I mean, sometimes I was going through shit to the point where, like, I'd repost older videos that I had some connection with or whatever, but it was, and I mean, it wasn't like, yeah, I realized people had seen that shit before, but sometimes I just needed something to keep me going, and man, sometimes that shit would do it.
and you knew you were ready for it. I mean, it wasn't like I leveled you up or anything like that. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have that power. No, I don't think even the bigger, the longer anons, OG anons, nobody really has that power. You have to be ready. You have to know you're ready and step up. And yeah, get a little help if you need to. You got a little help from me, and then it turned out you really didn't need it. I mean, I started giving you a little instruction here and there, and all of a sudden you just took off all on your own because you were ready to.
Yeah.
And that's pretty awesome. And when we first started doing this show, I couldn't even put the show together and edit it. And one time Enki wasn't around, and he set the camera up, and I did the show, and then I just told him, you're busy right now, upload it to me, and I'll edit it and put it up. And I did a pretty good job, I thought. I like copied some of his shit and put on it, his intro and whatnot. But that's all right. I mean, it doesn't belong to us anyways. What we make, we let go of it. When we upload it and put it on YouTube or wherever, it's not ours no more. It belongs to Anonymous. And other anons can take and use that and feel free to do it, And you might say, well, it's mine. We don't buy into this copyright shit,
Yeah.
I mean, we never have. And I mean, look at how we started. We were freaking trolls, first of all. And then we became a group of hackers. And then we got like a conscience about us, and started trying to be activists, more than activists, I think, but basically the same as an activist, just that hacking thing thrown in the mix. And we kind of evolved, and now, I mean, there are so many different talents in Anonymous.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
I mean, it's amazing the different talents, the different knowledge that people possess, and such as that. We're very dynamic now. And again, I'll refer back to that intro because that's not my intro. Someone else's, like I said, it belongs to Anonymous, and so I use it. And I use it not because I want to copy it or, yeah, it saves me a little time, but I use it because of what it says, and I totally wholeheartedly agree with what it says. Anonymous is more powerful than it's ever been. Sometimes it don't seem like it. You see a bunch of infighting from, people who think they're anonymous or, just they're claiming the name. They don't do it right. And so, yeah, it causes some problems. And some of that's not even anonymous. Some of that is trolls and trying to inject themselves into the collective. And, very few of them actually succeed at that, I think. But, yeah, they're recognized as anonymous. So
I know when I first started, dude, I did it all wrong, man. I did it all wrong. My head was in the wrong place. But that kind of ties into what you said earlier about how, just over time, something about people who, have the right intention, they just start to, the way you research things changes, and the way you think about things changes, and all that stuff, man. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, I tell you what, it's not a group, it's not a club, anything like that. We all know the line on that. And, this is a show for Anons, by Anons. I mean, the purpose of this show from the very beginning was for Anons to define themselves to the public. And to other Anons that maybe haven't come so far along and don't understand it completely. instead of being defined by the government and by the media, which both lie like dogs about us, we're defining ourselves. That's what this show's about. And we cover all kinds of subjects, but it gives people a chance to know what Anonymous is and who we are and what kind of things we do. You know, we started our first show, we had a hacker on. And we opened the show up and he had just lit up a joint. He was sitting there smoking his joint, you know. And I thought that was pretty cool, you know. I mean, and anybody who wants to come on this show can do whatever they want when they're on the show. You know, we don't censor. We're anonymous. We don't tell you what you can say, what your opinion has to be. You know, we just want you to think. You don't have to think like us. Just think. And that's part of what makes Anonymous as powerful as it is we're so dynamic. And so, you know, you and I can't be into everything that Anonymous has to do. But yeah, all of us are different, you know? And I mean, I just think that's freaking awesome.
It is. I wish I would have known about like this avenue, because like I've seen other channels kind of do the same thing like as this, but I wish I would have known about that like earlier on. It probably would have helped me avoid some mistakes. But
you're not alone in that, though. I mean,
yeah,
I made plenty, but I try to keep my heart true, and you know what I'm trying to do is noble and there's honor in it, you know. And so, as long as you see to it that you keep yourself on that path, you're going to get there. So, you know, any Anons out there that listens to this, they should know that you're going to get there. Just watch the guys around you that you have respect for, and try to learn from them. And I mean, we've got a group or actually a page, and it's called Join the Anonymous Revolution, and we try to pull in Anons. And I don't agree with trying to pull them into our sect or anything like that. That would be wrong, because then you're just trying to gain power within the collective, and that's not okay. You know, you should only do that through respect.
For sure, and, sure.
They'll come to you if you get the respect and earn the respect. They'll come to you, and you'll get them that way. So we just teach them to, you know, when they do come in, we teach them, you know, go in this group here, and you know, it's just kind of pretty open group, and learn from them people. Watch their examples, and you know, then find a sect that you really like, and see if you can't work your way into it. And or some people do a better job just as a loner. I mean, I know a lot of people that aren't part of any sect.
Dude, yeah, that's basically what I did for like, I mean, I got connected with some good people early on, but I mostly just did shit by myself. And like, to your other point, what you were saying, like, I feel like I've met some people like in my life who I just feel like would be super well suited for this, but at the same time, it's like you don't want to like push that onto people or like set some expectation. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm weird about that.
Well, yeah. I mean, people need to show somewhat of an interest in Anonymous. I mean, I'll tell you what drew me to it. I heard a comment from actually a relative of mine that made a comment one time that Anonymous was not a bunch of bad guys, that they were really doing good. That, you know, in spite of the fact that they may be hackers or this or that or whatever, they're out there to do some good and change the world for the better. Well, that made an impression on me, but what really made me to decide to become Anonymous was I was beginning to really notice that there's something really wrong with the world, you know? I mean, yeah. It's fucked up out there, you know? And I didn't notice nobody else really trying to fix it, really trying to do anything about it. I didn't notice anybody else doing it but Anonymous. And I thought they were trying and doing a pretty good job of changing the world. And I think was that Inky there?
Yeah, man, I was just saying, same with me.
Yeah, I mean, we have changed it. As the entire collective, we've changed the world, and we continue to.
Dude, it's so crazy that you guys say that and you agree on that point, because for me it was way different how I got into it. Like when I got into it, I was in a really bad situation, like doing things I shouldn't have been doing, hanging out with some bad people. I got into the fucking tour and shit and just like got really bad, and I just, in my mind, it was always built up as this, like, if you need help, there's something you can call on. And, like, I totally agree with the point that it's not anybody's personal army, but it was like calling upon it. I kind of had to, like, see the strength inside of myself to help myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it just kind of all been uphill ever since.
We all have to do that. I mean, the revolution starts in you. It starts inside one person's heart. That's where it starts.
Yeah, you just have to be. You can always use, the help from fellow Anons and stuff, but you just need to be using it for the right reasons, and for like others and not just yourself.
Yeah.
Because that's
Absolutely.
when you're doing it obviously for the wrong reasons, and people are just going to turn against you anyway.
Right. You use it to fight your battles. You gather a few friends and gang up on this or that or the other to get your way on something. Your heart's in the wrong spot, man.
Yeah,
you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah, it's not fault, and all that does is just kind of distract from what people, the good things people are trying to do anyway. It's just destructive.
Right. There's nothing wrong with teaming up with people to accomplish something. There's nothing wrong with that. Just make sure you're doing it for the right reason and everything, and you'll gain the respect of people, and people will want to work with you, because there are a lot of Anons out there that do just that. They pull together with a group of capable people and accomplish something that sometimes is outright amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've said it on the show before. And one of the things too that actually got my attention on Anonymous was North Korea, the former leader that died, the father of the guy that's running it now. He was going to nuke the West Coast, and we went on Anonymous or on North Korea Facebook. We went on there and posted him wearing women's underwear. I mean, it was Photoshop. It was Photoshopped and everything, But wow, how cool! I mean. You got this leader saying, "Oh, he's a bad guy. He's this guy." We just put him up there in women's underwear. He was, I mean, how degrading for the guy. I mean, we made him look pretty stupid.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And, I mean, that's just one example. I mean, and when I say we, I mean, a lot of it I haven't had any part in it whatsoever. But, some of the original guys, and their attitudes are different than everybody else's, and I think it's because of the anonymity and the mask. The guy in the Hacker Wars video, you guys have seen that, right?
Yeah.
And these guys are, I mean, they did some amazing shit and all that, but they all got popped because of some bitch ass Sabu guy or whatever. I mean, some of them went to jail, went to prison. Some of them are still in prison from that. But then you see these guys out there getting ready to go in the courtroom, and they're interviewing one guy, and he says, "I'm going to jail for doing fucking math." I mean, it was. I mean, he totally belittled him, and he didn't see anything wrong with what he was doing, because there wasn't. Even though, it was illegal, but he was doing that for the right reason, even though it was illegal. And, you look at this, the guy that leaked the video to WikiLeaks of the Iraq War, where they were killing innocent people on purpose. Killing reporters and such as that saying they're armed. They are armed with a camera, you know, and they're shooting them intentionally. And they call the video collateral murder. You know, that guy, yeah, he paid a heavy price for it. But I don't give a fuck what anybody says. He's a hero. She now, but you know, he's a she now, but you know what I mean. The guy is a freaking hero because, you know, he got that video out and he said, you know, this ain't okay. This ain't right. And that guy, by doing it, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but by doing that,
I was trying to interrupt you either.
He changed my mind about war, you know, and our role in it. He totally changed my mind about it. Go ahead now.
I was just gonna say, like, on that topic, I think that was Matt Dehart that you're talking about. It might have been someone else, but my point is, like,
no,
who was it?
What's his name? I don't remember. Is the one?
What was that?
The one that leaked the helicopter video of Iraq War. Collateral murder. It's called. The guy's a girl now. He had a sex change in there, I guess, or whatever. You know.
Oh, Bradley Manning, Chelsea Manning.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. That's the one I'm talking about.
But no, I was just gonna say, like, when you think about, like, we're kind of in this phase where we're in the aftermath of all those whistleblowers like Jeremy Hammond, Barrett Brown, Chelsea Manning, like, and you see the directions they've taken with things, and it's like, I don't know, it's just like the generation after all that happened.
Right. Yeah, we are the generation after, but you know, it's still going on. I mean, we got another one right now. Akron Phoenix 420.
Yeah.
I did a video on it, and you know, I mean, the guy's gonna do 10 years because he DDoSed the police station.
That's so petty, man.
10 years for that, you know? I mean, okay, it was illegal. Okay, maybe we have to go to jail when we get. Come on, man, 10 years for DDoSing.
And they were trying to get that sheriff off for having kiddie porn, man. Like, what? Or like the sexual exploitation of a minor or something.
Right. And to the judge's credit, the judge is refusing to let him go, and more power to him. I hope the judge keeps refusing, you know? And I used that in the video to show, you know, you might say that it can't be the cops. They're the cops, you know. But look at what the cops there did in that city, you know. This was a chief in that city. And he was into kiddie porn. And Phoenix did what? DDoS somebody? DDoS the cops? And they said, well, you know, he shut down the 911 system. Well, you can look at that two ways. We put lives at risk. That's how they're portraying it. But you know what else he did? The only way he could have shut down the 911 system is if they were using internet-based phone for their 911 system, and that's very insecure. That should not be possible.
Yeah.
So he was really exposing them putting the whole community at risk over and over and over by shutting it down once. And he didn't hold it down long. He just shut it down. And he held the police server down a long time, you know. But, you know, I mean.
Did you see NASA finally confirmed that there is like an extra planet like that's come into our solar system?
Yeah, I see that, you know. They denied it for how long? And yeah, now there is one.
What, that there's another planet coming?
Yeah.
Whoa, I did not see that.
They're in a different, vastly different orbit.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. It kind of
comes around
everything about it kind of matches or like mirrors, you know, Zachariah Sitchin's like model or whatever. So there's all these theories and speculations out there, but yeah, I'm gonna have to look more into it. I want to make a video on it.
Yeah, it's, you know, I was really into that back over a year ago, and I kind of got away from it and other stuff. I mean, we can only focus our attention on a certain amount of things, you know, and I probably overload myself as it is. And so, yeah, I haven't been paying as much attention to that as I wish I had, but because I think it is important. But
Yeah, man. You and me both.
and you know, that's another one of these things that everybody saw as a conspiracy theory. You know, implying that, well, it's bullshit. You know.
Yeah.
And well, no, it ain't. It's just they were covering it up. And how much shit have we seen that they're covering up like that?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
it's just like people used to call people that believe things like that were called conspiracy theorists, and people would laugh at them. And now it's just becoming less and less laughable because we're being proven more, every day.
yeah, we're not conspiracy theorists. You know, I've seen that as a badge of honor being called that. But really, at this point, we're not conspiracy theorists. We're conspiracy analysts.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, the word theorist or theory or whatever changes the meaning of it. It means so you say, you know?
Yeah.
But conspiracy is a very, very real thing. It means one or more people, or excuse me, two or more people conspiring to do something wrong, to break the law.
Yeah, in secret. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Well, I mean, if you want to get real particular about that, the CIA coined the term conspiracy theorist back during the JFK shit, I think.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I always have to bring that up. I'm glad you brought it up. Because, you know, these guys didn't buy the Warren Commission report. It was not a single lone gunman. And, you know, and they got the nerve to try that shit again in Vegas. Oh, he's a lone gunman. Bullshit. You know? No, he ain't a lone gunman. You know, we can't say exactly how many or exactly what happened, just like a lot of situations, just like 9/11 and whatnot. We can tell you that what they're telling us happened isn't what happened. We can prove that. You know? Yeah. And I think, you know, you and me did a show on it that actually was one of our best shows. We didn't even have a guest, just Enki and me did the show.
Yeah,
and, I mean, it's been watched more than any of our other shows. And you know, all we did was sit there and point out that, you know, these guys are bullshit.
You know, that ends up being one of the longest shows we've done, but that was even after I'd cut out, like, you know, 2/3 of it already. We just kept talking. Yeah.
And the longest one was the last one you put up, but up until then, it was the show where I interviewed Michael Howell, and you know, that was a really good show too. It was a little different than our show usually is, but I think it was important. It was worth doing, even though it was different. You know, he's not an Anon, but he's very much supported by Anons. He supports us.
He's a guy just full of good information, man, that Anons would want to know. Right,
and he works with us all the time, and I work with him a lot. I've known him a long time, and you know, he's not just a truther who just decided to write a book. I mean, the guy's a professional writer that works for Fox News, and he just disagreed with him and left there and became a truther. I met him. I wasn't on Facebook at the time. I was on the Sioux Network, but that's where I met him at, and he's actually the first radio show I ever was on was his. And the guy he's smart, and he understands what's going on. He understands the truth, and he's good at putting it out there. And that book's pretty good and broad ranging. And he's working on another book now that's going to be just as good. It's really going to be a good book. So,
what's his first book called?
It's called Anatomy of a Global Agenda. I can get you a copy of it if you want.
I'm gonna have to take you up on that.
Yeah, there's no conspiracy. What's that, Enki?
Oh, he just dropped out.
Okay, well, it's not a conspiracy theory. There's not a conspiracy theory in the book. He steered very clear of that. You know, when he took on 9/11, you know, he has some real good theories on what happened maybe, but he stuck with what he could prove. And, you know, you can prove that what they say happened didn't happen. That's easy to prove. I mean, at this point, pretty much any Anon can prove to you that 9/11 was not what the narrative said it was. Pretty much any
For
Anon.
sure. I agree with that, hands down.
And, you know, I mean, he explains to you in there what everything is. I mean, like what the shadow government is. It's the elites that control, that own the world, supposedly. You know, the deep state. It's an arm of them. It's the CIA, the Mossad, you know, the FBI, all the NSA, shit like that. That's the deep state, and the shadow government runs things by corruption, by bribery, blackmail, just all kinds of shit. They control the elections. They have the CIA out there doing dirty work for them, the NSA. And if somebody spills the beans on them, like Ed Snowden or something like that, they destroy their life, you know. You know, and people, it works to a sense. I mean, Ed Snowden, you'll find people out there that'll say, well, you know, he's a traitor, he's this or he's that. Bullshit. You know, the guy had a great job, money wise. I wouldn't want that job, but money wise, I mean, he was making big money. He had a young, beautiful wife that he lost his family. He lost his family. He lives in Russia now, you know, and he's still doing it. He's still exposing that shit. I mean, he's a hero. We need more like him. I mean, I'll say out there to if any NSI guys are listening to me right now, quit your job and come and join us. Come and join us. You guys have some good skills. You know what's right and what's wrong. Come on, join us. Let's take this shit down. Let's take this government down and quit turning everybody into slaves and trying to kill off, you know, most of the population of the earth and all that stuff, and starting all these wars so that elites can make more money. You know, is that what you guys are supporting out there? Come on.
That's one thing that's so frustrating for me, dude, is, I mean, like, without getting into super specifics, like, think about who my family is and shit. And so I think about, like, man, you would just think there would have to be good people who are still out there in those organizations, in the deep state, in the shadow government, and it's like, what are they doing? Like, are they just like...
Yeah, you guys, instead of working the NSA, come on over here on this side and we'll hack the NSA. You know? Who they? They're not anybody special. They got a lot of computers. They're probably easier to hack, you know? I mean, they probably got more computers than anybody. Look at that big center they put in Utah. And all the servers, and I mean, they're just row after row. Yeah, and, you know, it's like a year and a half.
I read about that.
Like that. Yeah, and they're going to be able to store everything there is to store on everybody, whether you're an Anon or whether you're, you know, a little old lady driving your car once a week to church, you know, or what. They're going to, because, you know, we're getting in a police state and a totalitarian government, basically, and they're paranoid. They don't trust no one.
Well, and
they don't trust us. Yeah, go ahead.
A big problem that they're going to run into, I think, just in my opinion, and I'm not super technical, I know a little bit, but just from what I know, like, okay, you're familiar, so the NSA leaks, right? That H key score or X key score or whatever it was, where they could just like search basically the internet for anything, specific words, people's inboxes, stuff like that. I mean, there were people that wrote those programs to do that. And so as time goes on, in my opinion, what's going to happen is they are going to hire people who are going to use this software, and it's going to be less dependent on people writing new programs for them to use. So there's going to be this just like deficit, I feel like. And it's, I don't know, I think it's going to make them vulnerable in the end, but that's just me.
Well, yeah, and you know, nobody out there likes being spied on. You know, I mean, what American thinks that's okay? Nobody does. I mean, come on. This is America. And yeah, America's not what we were told it was. You know, they lied to me when I was growing up. And they lied to you, they lied to everybody. But, you know, and they shouldn't have did that. But, you know, we're thinking, well, apple pie, Chevrolet, you know, America's great. Well, it's not so great. It's not so fucking great. And we've done some fucked up shit. I mean, you know, we've killed over 20 million, just since the end of World War II, we've killed over 20 million people in 36 countries, all illegal wars. Now, you tell me what's good about us.
Well, and what's even worse about that is it's like, you know, for a long time, I think a lot of these countries were, you know, they blame the government for it, but now it's like the population's become so complicit and just nonchalant about the fact that it's happening that people hate us, dude. People hate us.
We used to watch these shows like Combat when I was a kid and stuff like that, you know, that the guys that get captured, I'm an American, you know, oh, they're going to treat him with kid gloves because he's an American. Well, that's bullshit, you know, the world does not look at us that way. They tell us that, well, these terrorists, they don't like us because of our freedom and because we're wealthy. No, bullshit. They don't like us because we go over their country, we drop bombs on their men, women, and children for oil. Yep. That's why they don't like us, you know. Quit bombing us is what they're saying. Quit killing our women and children. That's what they're saying. And not only that, a lot of the terrorism's not even fucking real. The biggest terrorist in the world is our government. And not just ours. I mean, you got Israel, you got other countries that are complicit in it, but we're the biggest terrorists, you know. ISIS, we support them. We filmed ISIS fighters and got close-ups shots at their arms with the special forces tattoos on them. You know?
Oh, dude, Russia, like basically Russia's geospatial agency released these I can't remember how they got released, but they were satellite images of what were supposed to be Islamic State controlled areas of Syria, and there was nothing in these places except for U.S. occupation. That was it.
Yeah, and this crap that's going on in Syria, oh, they got good reasons for it. We got to do this because they're gassing their people or what. Oh, come on, man. They know the world's watching. You think Assad's going to go gas? I'm not defending Assad. I'm not saying he's a good guy, but the guy ain't stupid either. He's not going to go gas all his people so they
that made no sense.
Shot at him, you know. And you know, one of my videos that I've done is on that very thing. And you have to go back to before 9/11, and we're facing a new century, you know, and it's called a Project for a New American Century. That's what it's called, and it's a committee. It's a secret, you know, one of these secret groups like we hear about, you know, all the Illuminati's made up of all different kinds of secret groups and shit.
Yeah,
and that's what this is, and they're making a game plan. This is a year before 9/11, and they said we got to attack these, you know, we got to do regime changes in these countries.
7 countries in 5 years.
Yeah, right. And they said that you know we got to do these regime changes, and people aren't going to go for this. You know, it's going to take a long time to do this unless, and they said this right in their report, unless there's another Pearl Harbor, a new Pearl Harbor. And then people will cheer us on, you know. Yeah, go. So what do we get? We get 9/11, and George Bush calls it our 9/11, or our Pearl Harbor is what he calls it, our Pearl Harbor. And what do? They implement the Patriot Act. It could have never got away with that before 9/11. But you know what? That was how many? 42,000 pages or something like that, the Patriot Act? That was written.
No, they're able to bring in a lot of shit, man, after they, like, you know, pull people together in panic and fear.
Right. They got us all ready for war. We were all screaming for war. Let's go kick their ass. We even had a song, man. Uncle Sam, or what was that song called? You remember that? Where, I can't even think of the name of it, but I mean, it's a country song, and it was like cheering it on, saying, "Good, let's go, we're gonna whoop your ass," and we were all gung ho for it and everything, and it turns out it was all based on lies. And then what do? We go in there, we're gonna light up your world. We go in there and attack Iraq and Afghanistan. Okay, Afghanistan, they at least claimed that it came from there. Iraq had nothing to do with it.
They really didn't.
And then, what I included in that video about it is that a month after 9/11, Wesley Clark, the General Wesley Clark, he goes in to the Pentagon and he goes down to say hey to the guys that used to work with him when he was chairman of the Joint Chiefs. And he says it right there. I mean, this guy has all kinds of credibility. And he says, this guy calls him over and says, General, we're going to attack Iraq. We're going to war with Iraq. And he says, why? He said, I don't know. This is at the Pentagon. He says, I don't know. He said, I guess, we don't know how to fight the terrorism, so we're just going to, go change the regime, take them down and make an example, or I guess. And then he said he'd come back a month later, and he said to the guy, he said, well, I see we're in Afghanistan, but what about Iraq? I thought we were going to Iraq. Well, we're gonna, General, but it's worse, way worse. So there's 7 countries, and he starts naming them off. And we're gonna go into Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, Sudan, Lebanon. We're going into Syria. We're going into Iran. What have we done since then? Every one of those, and we're saber rattling with Iran right now. But what did they do? Has Iran attacked us? I mean, you hear about their sworn enemy of Israel and everything, and they want to destroy Israel. Well, they haven't done it. It's bullshit. It's all bullshit. And the powers that be will let them do it because, well, fuck, they make money off of that. Big money. And, I mean, how much of this do we put up with? We keep taking part in these elections and putting up with this bullshit. How much? How much do we put up with? I mean, we have...
That's crazy, man. And you sound just like that guy from that video when you say that. Just going to throw that out there.
Well, I mean, we have to put up with what we allow. It's that simple. I mean, who to blame? Blame yourself, because we let it happen. We let them get away with it. We blame too, but we let them get away with it, and we're guilty on that front. That don't mean we have to stay guilty, though.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I agree with you completely. I mean,
totally.
Especially the Patriot Act, like, I don't know, I don't feel right about getting into it on here, but just like, I've wondered if, because of who my family is, that a lot of the things that have happened, maybe potentially were because the Patriot Act allowed it to.
Well, yeah.
Throwing that out there.
Well, I mean, I'm not one to really shy away from any of it. I mean, maybe if I had a family that was involved in something or whatever, that, I kind of feel a little torn, but I'm not. I mean, I'm an old man, and I do this shit I got 20 grandkids, and I do this shit to make sure they grow up free. So I'll say it. The Patriot Act stole our freedom. It stole our liberty. It stole it away, and it turned us into a police state. Every
It's super loud.
What are you talking about? he's down under. He's down under, and when they flush the toilet down there, it swirls the other way. It don't swirl the same way as ours. And he says it's bullshit, but you know, we had a guy on that was in Australia one night, and Enki was gone. He was off the set, so I had him go flush the toilet and put it on camera, and it does. It turns the other way, man.
That's weird.
I saw it, man.
What was that? Was that you flushing the toilet?
No, man.
That was a vacuum cleaner.
Oh no, it's the kettle. We're cooking shit.
Oh, you popped me some shrimp on the Barbie then.
Yeah, man. I'll fucking put shrimp on the bar.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
We got plenty of footage, man. We got like over an hour already.
Okay, well, good. I think this is going to be a pretty good show. We're just sitting here talking.
Yeah.
And it's probably the truest show to what we made the show for. I mean,
Yeah. We make it for
Anon,
just sit
well, it's for Anonymous to define itself instead of being defined by the government and being defined by the media. You know, that's why we made it. And that's pretty much what we did here, along with expose some of the bullshit. And, well, that's the other reason we made it. So,
yeah.
we're going to have a good show coming here. Really good one.
Yeah, that's cool. This makes me want to go back and watch some of the other shows too.
Yeah, you should.
They're not all great, but they're interesting, I think. You know, I enjoyed doing every one of them. And, you know, we did a variety of different things. So,
Yeah, they're not always this kind of unstructured, but if we don't really have, you know, heaps of material worked out to talk about, we usually just talk about anything, and it ends off all right.
well, and we're pretty busy, face it. And so, yeah, it's kind of hard for us to get the shows in sometimes. And you get busy, I get busy, and we kind of slack off a little bit. But
yeah, but we welcome people on, man, whenever they want to come on. So if you ever want to come on again,
yeah, we
just
do.
Yeah,
shout out.
that's cool,
yeah.
man, for sure.
Well, actually, he's going to, because we're going to be doing actually two more shows.
Yeah, we got to do the CPS stuff.
Like rapid fire. You ready for that, aren't you, Enki? We're gonna shoot two more out just really pretty quick because they're important ones. And one of them, the subject isn't unity, but I think at the end of the show you're going to see a good example of unity and what it's about. You know, you don't have to be like me to unite with me. You don't have to think like I think. You just have to allow me my opinion, and I allow you your opinion, and we walk away friends even if we disagree. You know,
Yeah.
we walk away able to work together. So, you know, and unity is what we need, because unity it's lacking throughout humanity, inside and outside of Anonymous. It's lacking, and
Yeah.
it's the one thing the elites are afraid of. So,
Yeah. All right, I've got to go. Oh, bro, I've got to go do
right.
something, but I'll be back. All right.
well, we can go ahead and wrap it if you want to. Well, you went away. All right, we won't. Anyway, here. I'm going to put my mask back on real quick so I can get back on the camera. I get off the camera sometimes because, well, I gotta get high sometimes. So, you know.
Dude, I need that in my life so bad, dude.
Yeah,
So bad.
They're testing you, huh?
No, it's not even that. I'm done with that.
Oh, okay.
I need to kind of get some stuff together, man. Well, I need to get a job, but then there's going to be a lot of weed in my life really soon. I'll just put it out there.
Well, there should be a lot of it in everybody's life, I think. You know, I mean, unless you just don't want it. But
dude, I mean, like, what's crazy is like I don't want to sell it. I don't want to like smoke weed and go like drive out of like, dude, I just want to calm down sometimes, man. For real.
Well, yeah, I mean, what we do is pretty stressful. You know, I love doing this, but it's stressful at times, really stressful. And you need to just calm yourself down a little here and there, and that's a great way to do it. So, you know, what were once vices are now habits, I guess the old rock star used to say. He had some cool names. One album was called "The Smoke You Drink, the Player You Get." You know, I mean, I'm pretty sure Joe Walsh got high. Pretty sure of that. So, but you know, weeds turn out. You know, we got showed all these movies in school about the evil weed and stuff like that. It was bullshit. You know.
Yes, it was.
And turns out, I mean, the shit will cure cancer. It'll cure a lot of other things. And they say, well, it ruins your memory. And then they do these studies and find out that actually people who are high can remember things better. They're more creative. And even some stronger things like for instance, mushrooms. You know, there's studies that show that there are a lot of benefits as far as your brain is concerned and how it functions.
Yeah, I think they're actually doing like clinical trials of psilocybin again.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a movement. I know in California there's a movement to legalize mushrooms. I doubt it's going to happen real soon, but down the road, I think maybe it will. I mean, we're starting to, as a society, we're starting to learn how to get the truth out there better. And so, yeah, I think down the road, and I'm not for like, you know, meth or heroin, shit like that. That's garbage, you know? I mean, it has no redeeming qualities, but that doesn't mean that they're all bad. I mean, it's perfectly legal to drink, and we know that how damaging that is.
Yeah.
Smoking cigarettes, that's really damaging. It's legal. And, you know, I mean, the examples we see are, especially with drinking, that's, you know, the rich people all do it. They socially drink. But they're as big alcoholics as anyone else is. They cover it up a little better because they got money. And, you know, I mean, the world needs to get more real. It really does. And I mean, we're fighting for something here. You know, we're always fighting for something. And why not the truth, no matter what it's about? Why not get the truth out there? If it's something that's bad, we'll put it out there. If it's something that's seen as bad, but it's not bad, well, we'll get that out there too. And
hey, that's what I started doing, dude. I just started putting it all out on the table. The people were not ready for it. I wasn't even ready for it, but I mean, I'm glad I did. I don't have any regrets about that. I wish more people would do that.
Right, and you know, I'm working on a video now. It's a tutorial video on how to record the cops. I think that's going to be a pretty significant tool for people to use. I hope it encourages a lot of people to start doing it. It shows you not just that it's okay, that it's legal, and why you should do it, but it shows you that there are ways to do it and not put yourself at a big risk. You know, you can live stream to the internet, and I mean, cops could be the nicest guys when you give them a reason to be nice, you know. If they think you're gonna make them famous on YouTube, they usually see that as a reason to be nice. And so, you know, doing it the right way is really wise. You know, you should never do it without a lock screen. You should have your device encrypted and all that. You know, all those things make it where it's pretty much impossible for them to come at you, you know. And you know, what they'll do a lot of times, they'll take your device and they'll just wipe it clean. Well, if you're live streaming the internet, the cop's going to go to jail if he does it, you know.
Dude, that's what that video I had of me walking on the Air Force base and talking to them about some stuff, dude, I
Yeah.
live streamed it and they took it down, and so it's just gone, bro.
Yeah, you don't want to live stream it to YouTube or something like that because you run that
Or
risk.
it was Twitter.
But yeah, but there's services that you can live stream it to just to store it, you know.
Yeah.
And then after you're finished, it's there, and you can take a copy of it and post that. But your video's in a safe spot, and they can't get it.
Yeah, I'm still super butthurt about that.
Yeah, I mean, you do get hurt about it, and it's bullshit. I mean, why should they do that? Because they don't want the truth out there. You were putting some pretty significant truth out there. Go ahead, explain what was going on. See if they take this down. You can explain it if you want.
Oh, well, I mean, basically, like, my cousin is he's the president of a private intelligence contracting company for the military. And I'm of the opinion, there was a lot going on. There's, like, a lot of layers to this story. But one thing that I've thrown out as a possibility is, organized harassment, gang stalking, targeted individual type stuff. And I just, it's been unfolding for like 4 years. And, I just walked up to the Air Force Base, where people check in at the gates. And I was like, look, I know this seems really weird, but, like, I kind of need some help. Could I talk to you guys? And, I ended up stopping the live stream. I'm sitting there talking to him. I explained who my cousin is and whatnot. And I look at the guy and I'm like, I'm going to turn this live stream off and, show you my cousin's website and what he does or what he does to the best of my ability, because he is off the radar completely. But, that's private intelligence contractors. There's, I'm not sure who has oversight over them, but I'm pretty sure it's no one. But, yeah, I was just asking questions, man. I was just asking questions. I was being real nice. I was swearing, but I was telling them, like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything like that. Go ahead, you were going to say something.
Well, you were saying you don't know who has oversight. There is an intelligence, a chief of intelligence, that all the intelligence agencies kind of fall under the purview of it. But, I mean, like with Hillary and her server thing and all of that, she was putting all this classified information on an unsecured server. And she argues that it wasn't all that bad, and she lied about it and everything else. But, when they were having hearings in Congress, they had this guy that oversees all the intelligence agencies. They were having him testify, and they asked him about what this was or that was, and one thing that they were talking about, he said, I can't tell you that. Okay, we have the Senate Intelligence Committee having a guy testifying who's the head of the intelligence for the entire country, and he can't. And he tells them even in closed quarters, in confidence, he can't tell them what it is. But she had it on a server where Uma, the princess of a terrorist group, had access to it. I mean, she has to go to jail for that. There's no way you can let her off for that. And I mean, she's done other stuff too, just as bad. The pedophile rings and all that and whatnot. I'm trying to find the video I saw not long ago. A friend showed it to me. She's on a talk show, and she's talking about all the shit that got leveled at her in the election and why she lost the election. And she was kind of, dismissing this and that and everything, and she's making these arguments to try and make it all look ridiculous. And she said she was even accused of running a pedophile ring out of the basement of a pizza parlor. And then a few minutes later, she's like shooting all this stuff down, and she says that pizza parlor doesn't even have a basement. Well, wait a minute. What's she saying? That it happened and they just don't have a basement? Why did she have anything to do with this pizza parlor? Because we all know about the pizza parlor, you know? We all know about that ping pong pizza. We're all well aware of that. What the hell was she saying there? I mean, it sounded to me like she admitted it. She just was saying, you know, they were wrong. There's no basement. Okay, you did it on the regular main floor. Okay, it's still the same thing you did. You know, I mean these elites think they can get away with that shit.
I don't really like. I try really hard not to buy into party politics. I think both candidates were pretty subpar, but like what I find really shocking with Hillary Clinton is like the way she was towards people that they kind of caught like off screen, but people still recorded it, was just nasty, dude.
Oh yeah, she's a bitch, you know. I mean, there's no other way to put it, man. And you know, I agree. The left-right paradigm is dead. You know, there is no. It's just two different sides of the same coin. You know, they don't work for us, either one. They work for the elites. They work for the international bankers. They work for the corporations. That's who they work for. They don't work for the people. And yeah, exactly. You know, and then we get this election, and just like every time, we get to choose the lesser of two evils. Okay, well, think about that a minute. Of course, yeah, you're going to want to choose, if you only have the choice of two, you're going to want to choose whichever one's less evil. Yeah. But if you vote for either one of them, aren't you voting for evil?
Yep. In this election,
yeah, and I mean, I voted in, other than this election, I didn't vote in it. But other than that, I voted in every election since Reagan. And I made some mistakes, and I'll admit right here the mistakes. I voted for both Bushes. Boy, can you think of any bigger mistakes when you're voting? Vote for them two guys. I mean, biggest thugs on the planet, you know?
I wonder if some people in my family feel that way. There's some real hardcore. I come from some hardcore Bush supporters.
Well, I was, and you know, I mean, it's blatantly obvious. First of all, the New World Order, first place I heard that term come out of George Bush Sr.'s mouth.
Oh,
and watch the video on YouTube, man. That's a crazy motherfucker there. You know, I mean, he was insane. And then you look at what happened on 9/11. You know, I'm not surprised at all that Jeb Bush got creamed in the election and didn't have a chance, because, you know, we finally, I think, realized as a country that the Bushes are dirtbags, you know? I mean, Bush Sr., you can say whatever you want to. There's a picture of him standing outside the school book depository when Kennedy was assassinated, and he was in the CIA. So, and he'll say,
when you think of all the things he did that had this ripple effect that put the CIA into so much, man, he gave them a lot of power, dude.
Yeah, and you know, that thing with Kennedy, you know, he's not the only one. I mean, he didn't just go there and single-handedly kill the president. He was involved in killing the president. And he'll tell you to this day, I don't know where I was that day. I'm not sure where I was. Okay, well, I am. You were staying in a room in Dallas. You lied about it. You said you can't remember where you are. Okay, I was in kindergarten when that happened. I remember where I was. Of course, I didn't have a reason to lie. I knew how to lie when I was in kindergarten, but I didn't have a reason to lie. He did. So he did. He lied. But he had a reason to lie. And, you know, he's not the only one that was in it, no. But he was pretty dirty in it. And we got a lot of that shit going on. And I think a lot of America doesn't even realize to this day that that's what the Watergate break-in was about. That's what they were after. There was evidence that was in there that was going to be used against Nixon in the election. That's what they went in there after.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, some pretty dirty shit's happened in our country's history.
Oh, yes, it has.
And, you know, we're not who we were taught in school that we are. We're just not. And we've been lied to about everything under the sun. I mean, I watched us go to the moon on TV. I feel a little fucking stupid. I mean, I really do now. Listen, we didn't go to the fucking moon, you know? I mean,
dude, I think we've been to the moon, but not then. That's not when we went to the moon.
Well, you know, it's possible that we did after that. I don't know, but the one, I mean, that was on the news and everything. I mean, not just on the news. We watched the footage of it live on the news and all of that stuff. Yeah, how in the hell would they do that? And you see two guys in the picture. Who was filming that at that time?
Dude, there's this really good video. I'll have to see if I can find it and send it to you. But it shows them, like, it's got, like, actual footage of, like, a studio. And
yeah, I'm sure I've seen it because I watched a bunch of those. And,
I was going to say, I'm sure you've seen it, too.
And, you know, they tell us that we went to the moon, but then that means going through the Van Allen belt, the radiation belt, you know? Okay, but when they talk about going to Mars, now they're saying, of course, this is NASA, never a straight answer, you know. But they tell us, well, we got to figure out how we can get through the Van Allen belt. Whoa, hold on a minute. I thought we already knew how to go through that. What the fuck you mean you lost all those records? You know, but that's what they're telling us. They lost all of the documentation of what they did. Poof, it's all gone. You know? Oh, come on, dude. I mean, we're not that stupid, you know? Yeah, I've been pretty stupid in my life, but, you know, I eventually did learn. And
dude, flat Earth still makes me feel stupid, dude.
Well, I
don't think the Earth is flat.
Don't get Enki started on that, okay? Because he really gets into it with these flat earthers.
Dude, I don't think it's flat, but it's like, dude, I see, like, people, you know, post all these, like, charts and these diagrams and these numbers and shit, and I'm like, dude, is this real right now?
Yeah, you know what, I mean, I'm not faulting Enki for it at all, or you, either one, but, you know what, I'm busy and I really don't give a shit. You know, dude. I mean, tell me why it matters. Tell me why it matters if it's flat around and maybe
yeah, flat around. It is super fucked up. That's how I feel about it.
Exactly, and you know, another thing about the flat earthers is, you know, I did some posts on paid trolls about a year ago.
Yep.
And most of the flat earthers you see out there, most of those flat earthers are paid trolls. They want us arguing about whether it's flat or round because they don't want us thinking about some of this other shit. And, you know, it's just another division they put out there, but like black and white, rich and poor, Christian or Jew or Muslim, or, you know, they try to divide us. And we need to learn, you know, I don't have a problem with a black man. He doesn't really have a problem with me, whether he thinks he does or not, or whether I think I do or not. There really is no problem. Yeah, there was back years ago. You know, my great-great-granddaddy treated his great-great-granddaddy like shit. I admit that he was wrong. But you know what? That's over and that's gone. And yeah, there's still some prejudice and some of that out there, but it's being pushed by the elites because they want us at each other's throats. They don't want us to unite because if we unite, they're done.
Yep.
And I can't put that message out there strongly enough. If we all unite, they don't know what to do. And we have the power to really make some changes because people still hold the power. The real power is in the hands of the people. They just don't know it.
Yeah.
And it requires us to, a critical mass of us to agree on it. And throughout history, even the most repressive dictatorships, anything else, whenever the people rose up en masse against the government, well, they didn't have to even fire a shot in most cases. The people hold the power. And if we don't get our heads screwed on straight and figure that out, these guys are going to win. And it's our game, you know, like a football game. You know, well, it's their game to lose, Jack. Well, you know, that's how it is right now. We're like commentators, and it's our game to lose. Because we haven't won. It might look like they haven't won, but we're holding all the cards, not them. Yeah, they got $500 trillion easy. Okay, so what? It's fake fucking money, you know?
Well, and I just think too, it's one of those things that until it's over, it's not over.
Right,
You know?
exactly. And, you know, we still ain't even got the 2-minute warning, huh? I mean, how many teams have we seen turn around and win the game in the 2-minute warning? So, yeah, you know, and I mean, that's just an analogy, I know, and I'm not into football much anymore because it's just a way to distract us, you know. But, you know, fun game, yeah, I've enjoyed it over the years and stuff like that, but I'm not into it anymore because I see through the bullshit. And there's a reason these guys get paid more money than a hero like a teacher should get paid or something like that, you know. And they do because these guys keep us more distracted than the other guys do. And so they're worth more money. And that's why pitchers and quarterbacks are getting $1 million contracts and shit, you know? And that's why they're some of the richest people on the planet, because they distract us and they do a good job of it. And, you know, it just kind of turned me off on all the sports. I just can't get into them now. Used to love racing and stuff like that. It's a joke. You know, meanwhile, we go ahead and slave away all week long so we can go watch that game, and we didn't have time for any news that week or any talk show or, you know, internet stuff because we were paying attention to some stupid shit, and we don't get it now, you know, and that's what's going on. I mean, and they're getting pretty good at this shit about, you know,
yeah, I think the more that comes out in the way of information transparency and resistance, the more fucking absurd shit is going to get, like, in the view of the general public, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, when's enough is going to be enough is what I wonder. Because, I mean, people out there, even these people with cognitive dissonance, I mean, they do see it. They do know that there's serious conflicts there. I mean, I guess I had a degree of cognitive dissonance at one point, but, you know, common sense tells you, look, you got to sort this out. You got two things in your head that conflict. You see one, you don't see the other. Even though you believe the other all your life, you don't. It's not true. The other one happened right in front of your face. You've seen it, and so you got to toss one of them out the window. It's bullshit. Toss it out, and you know, but it really is hard for people because, you know, I guess it's a psychological condition of a type of one, anyways, and I guess some people really just can't deal with it. They can't help it, but. Myself, I can't that out, you know?
When I first got into all this, I freaked the fuck out. Like, oh man, it was bad. I kind of did too.
I mean, we use an analogy of a rabbit hole. You know, we're going down a rabbit hole. And first rabbit hole I went down was 9/11, and I wasn't sure what to think. But I mean, it was growing painfully obvious. What they said happened didn't happen. It was something, it was different. And the only guys making any sense were these guys saying it was an inside job, you know? An inside job. We kept hearing that, you know, and I started paying attention and researching it. And I finally come to the conclusion that the government was complicit in it. And in a sense, we're behind it. I mean, they weren't the only ones, and so once I got that under my belt, I went deeper down the rabbit hole. I remembered JFK assassination and how all my life that's been a controversy. So I decided, well, I'm going to look into that, you know. Well, fuck,
Well,
they
dude,
killed him, man.
I mean,
You know?
get this. Okay, when 9/11 happened, I was in the 8th grade, right?
Yeah.
That whole day at school, the teachers didn't teach. There was no class. They just turned on. It was either Fox News or CNN all day. That's what we watched. And interestingly, my cousin worked at the Pentagon during this time when this all happened. And he was on his way to work that morning when he got a call from his boss. And his boss said, yeah, don't come to work today. And it was before the Pentagon was ever attacked or anything like that. And like, come to find out, he actually worked in the part of the Pentagon that got hit by whatever the fuck that was. But I just think it's convenient that he got a phone call and told.
And we all know about September 11th, but we all forget about September 10th. What happened that day?
The 2.3 trillion.
Yeah, and they were working on it in that very part of the Pentagon that was supposedly hit by an airplane.
It's crazy,
airplane. It wasn't hit by no airplane.
Crazy.
You know, come on. You know, give me a break. I mean, you fly, you look at footage where they're flying over in a helicopter, or you got this guy on the news saying, well, there's no sign of a plane here. Well, in the helicopter thing, you look at the video and the first thing you think is, where the fuck is the plane?
Well,
where's all the baggage and the people and shit, you know?
I think it was the end of last year. They declassified those pictures that had like perfect pieces of plane wreckage out in front of the Pentagon and shit when that happened. And it's like, dude, that took you over 15 years to declassify. Like, man, get over it.
Yeah, and it's
crazy.
Probably real anyway. They probably weren't real pictures anyhow, you know. I mean,
probably weren't.
The one guy, and it only played on the news one time, and it got pulled. The one guy's out there, and he's got the microphone up, and he's standing with the background, you know, the wreck site or crash site or whatever you want to call it, in the background. He's holding the microphone up, and he says, "There's no sign of any plane crash here, Bob. You know, I mean, plain and clear," he says it. This guy's covered all kinds of plane crashes. There's no wreckage here. There's no sign of a plane crash here. Yeah. You know, and in Shanksville, same thing. No sign of a plane here. And I don't think planes hit the towers in New York either. I think they were put in by CGI later on and shown on the news that way and semi-live. You know, you look at the same video from the same angle, from the same camera and everything, and it's different from when it was live and then on the evening news that night. You could see, in one of them you could see across the river, and the other one you couldn't. It was all quite fogged in, clouded up in the background, so you couldn't see all of that. Why? You know, why did they have to do that? You know, it's amazing to me. I mean, you know,
I've heard the CGI theory. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the way I see it, 2 buildings fell, and there was definitely demolitions involved. And
absolutely, I'll show you. I don't know if you've ever seen them. I'll show you pictures of the radio controlled fuses that were inside the World Trade Center. I'll show you the guys working on it. They were Israeli art students.
Oh.
And then you had the dancing Israelis and stuff like that, you know, all that stuff. I mean, yeah. And then, okay, forget all that other evidence. Throw it all away. Forget all of that. I got a meme. Okay, it's just a black background with the words Building 7. Probably says more than any other meme I ever made. It just says Building 7. Yeah. No other words on there. And what that brings to people's mind is amazing because it's the truth. The truth is there in that Building 7. No way that building came down. The planes didn't hit it, supposed planes or whatever. Nothing crashed into it.
Dude, have you seen any of my Pruitt Igo coverage about that?
I haven't, no.
I'm probably going to do a video about that next. I just don't know. It was going to be my first video, but I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to tie it all together.
Well, it may be done to death, but there's still a lot of people out there who are buying into it, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, if it was really like this, we'd have seen something on the news. No, you wouldn't have. The biggest liars there are, you know? I mean, that's what they do is cover shit like that up. So, hey, I'll work with you on that video if you want, because, yeah, there's all kinds of crap. In fact, I could pull in somebody who's like a pretty big authority on it. And, you know, then you look at the money trails involved there, man. Holy shit. I mean,
yeah, that's crazy.
Options that were bought on the airlines and stuff like that. I mean, shit. It's just amazing. You know, I mean, there were trillions of dollars made off of that. That's a disaster. There's supposed to be money lost off of it, not made.
Oh, dude, yeah. And when you think about like all the contracts construction companies are getting to build the new one, dude, money, bro.
And then the guy that owned them, who just bought them and way overinsured them, and then turned around and got double indemnity because there were 2 attacks in plane. You know, I mean, the guy paid like a paltry sum for it because they were filled with asbestos. They were already condemned. The Port Authority just didn't know what to do about it. They were going to have to come down. They knew that. And then you look at that Newsweek cover, or I think it was Newsweek. Anyways, it was a magazine cover with Rockefeller on there, and they're building him in the background, and he's got his watch set on 9/11.
Yeah. Dude,
You know?
I'm gonna send you something real quick on Facebook.
Yeah, and I'll send you something too. Some amazing shit happened that day. Just amazing. I mean, it's so much.
Well, see, like when I started having my nervous breakdown and shit, like I've told you, like hopefully you guys won't put this in the video, but like I was on drugs and shit, and dude, I found the paper from when I got baptized, and it was on 9/11, dude, and I about shit my pants.
Wow. Yeah.
Cause
Yeah.
I mean, that was just like, I mean, who my cousin is and shit, like, what the fuck? That shit gets to weird me out, bro.
Yeah, we edit out anything. You tell Enki what you want edited out, and he'll take it out. So yeah, just say something.
Even that I said, I'm pretty sure I said that all right, so I don't really care now.
Yeah, it's, you know, shit, you know, 9/11, I'll throw a joke in here. You know, they had to quit putting those remember 9/11 things on cars because illiterate people who were stealing the cars, they thought they were Porsches.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, I know it. I know it is, but you know, I'm for illiterate people. So, well, I think we ought to wrap this thing up. We can just let it run blank. He can edit it up, fix it. He can be another 2 hours knowing him. I mean, he comes and goes sometimes on these shows that, you know, well, I love that guy to death, man. He's my best friend for life, I tell you. I didn't even know Enki when we started TruthSec page. And he started it up and asked me if I wanted to help.
Yeah, I asked him a little bit about that before you got on.
Yeah,
I said it was cool to finally like get some time with him.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I didn't know him at all. He knew of me, but he didn't really know me. And but he, you know, he thought he liked what I posted and whatnot, so he asked me if I wanted to help. But kind of basically, all he wanted me to do is go on a page and invite friends, you know. But he made a little chat there, so the people working on the page could like meet and be able to communicate and whatnot. And so I started going in that and decided I was going to help on the page and started posting stuff. Next thing you know, it was like Enki and me, we were posting everything that was getting any traction, you know. And we loved what we were doing. We loved getting the attention of all these people and being able to get some truth to them. And he was pretty good at running the page. I didn't really know much about running the page. I was good at social media and posting and stuff like that, but I didn't know how to run a page or didn't know much about it. And I learned that from him. And we built that page up from the ground up.
That's dope, dude. It's a good page. I've had people give me admin privileges on other page that just like didn't even know me and like wanted me to like be admin. It's like, dude, I don't know how to do that for real.
We've got a lot of people on that page, but just him and me are admin. Everybody else is editor or below, you know. And but we had that page. I mean, it's come down a little bit from where we had it. We had that page 50,000 plus. I think it was 54,000 page view or post reach a week.
Yeah,
it's 54,000 post reach a week. That's pretty good for two guys, you know. I mean, because at that time there were a lot of people on there, but it was just him and me really posting on it. And I mean, we've run some pretty good. We had one post on there that had 74,000 views. I mean, I know people get more than that, you know, and some pages do, and some sites and whatnot. But I mean, for us, that's a lot.
But you guys don't even monetize anything.
No, we don't, and I don't want. I mean, we don't do what we do for money. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's another reason why it's cool. I mean, that's a lot of views when you're not monetizing and making money, and you're still like trying to produce decent content.
Yeah, and the record one was they pulled it like right off the bat when I put it up. That's the post that holds the record on there. It didn't stay pulled because I peeled it, and I argued that, you know, they said that it was copyrighted, and I argued that it was being done under the fair use, you know, like the commons, whatever you want to call it. And I argued that, and that we weren't making any money off of it. It was just, you know, we were just doing commentary on it, basically, and it was educational and whatnot, and I won the appeal on it, and they let me keep it up. The copyright holder said, hey, you can keep it up there. And so I got to keep it up, and then, pulled in 74,000 views, and I was just going, yeah, man, I've never done that before, you know. But I mean, I have got paid too before on the Sioux network. That's what it was about. They paid the users 90% of the ad revenues, but I didn't take any money from it. They put it in my account on there, and they had these charities, and I gave all of it to the charities because I don't do this for money. There's not enough money to pay me with, you know, what you put into it or anything. There's no way you get paid enough, so you can't do it about money. It can't be about that. You know, you have to do this shit for the right reason. So, let's wrap this thing up.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's been good, and I'm gonna do that CPS one with you guys, right?
Yeah, you are, and we got to get with Roxanne, and I think she's pretty knowledgeable on this one. She wrote that thing that I'm putting in the beginning of the video for it, and yeah, she did a good job on writing that. So she said I'm not experienced. I said, you know what? I said, you're really passionate about this thing, and I said, passion, it makes up for a whole lot of experience.
Dude, yeah, it really does.
And I mean, when you feel it inside you, you're going to do a good job on it. And sure enough, she did. She did a really good job. And I mean, it was really moving. And that what happened there was just total bullshit. So, I mean, they broke every freaking law they could, pretty much. So, anyhow. All right, well, let's get off here. I'm just going to cut off, and we end the call, and it stops the recording, I guess. That's what he says. So,
all right, sounds good, dude. I'll talk to you online.
I'll show you. I got some stuff to show you too. So, all right. See you in a few.
Peace.